Hello, loves. I decided I want to tell you a story. I probably had to have been about 7, 8. But one day we went to church with my parents and my grandparents. And I was sitting with my grandmother. And I saw this bright being. It was like a really tall, bright light. But it was walking across the pulpit while the preacher was preaching. And I was staring at it. And my grandmother, being able to sense something, she said, "What are you looking at?" I said, "I think it's an angel." And she said, "What is it doing?" And I said, "It's walking across the pulpit, getting ready to go through those doors." So as it opened the doors, this really bright light just came through the doors, and then all of a sudden we heard this loud boom, and they rushed all of us out the church. Well, what I knew was that my mother was back there in the church kitchen, her and a couple of other ladies cooking for after service. So they wouldn't let us back there. I didn't know if she was alive or how badly burned she was. And then the ambulance came, and it was about maybe 2 or 3 of them. And they took her out before we could see. So by the time we got to the hospital, I remember we were waiting in the waiting room, and after a while, it felt like hours. The doctor came out and he asked to speak to my dad, and he asked to speak to my grandmother. And I remember hearing words like, "Never seen this before. It's a miracle. Not a burn." Just stuff like that. So then he said, we could start to go back and see her. Well, that's before they had that rule where you could only be 2 people in a room. So as we're walking back down the hallway, I'm scared because even though I know now she's alive, I'm thinking the worst. Like, probably can't recognize her. I'm little. So when we got to her room, I looked on the side of her bed and I saw the same angel. Tall, just this bright light, just standing on the side of her bed. And I could hear my mom telling me to come here. And I was scared to. I was just afraid to get close to this light that I see that nobody else seems to see. And so after a while, my grandma said, "Come on, I'll go with you." So she took my hand and she walked me towards the bed. But before that happened, I guess the angel, sensing that I was afraid, walked around my mother's bed and past me. But when it went past me, I felt this warm feeling that I couldn't explain. And then when my grandmother took me to walk towards the bed, and I looked at my mom, and she kept saying, "It's okay, it's okay." And I hugged her. And later on, I told her about the angel that I saw, the angel that was by her bed. And she hugged me and she said, "I know." It would be experiences like that would go on to happen to me in life, where nobody could see it but me, but it's guiding and guarding the people that were around me. I'm telling you this story because sometimes we really don't think there's anybody in our corner or anybody around us guiding us. But there are angels in the midst, and they are guiding you, and they are guarding you, and they're protecting you from things you don't even know is going to happen, from things you can't see, from things that don't work out, and you're just, why didn't this work for me? And you're angry, you're upset, and maybe you couldn't go to work one day because of whatever. Not knowing that that particular day or that particular thing that you wanted so bad, an angel was protecting your life from what was attached to it. So as you go about your day and you feel alone and you feel like you have nobody, just know that each and every one of us, there is an angel attached to us. And if we ever get to that purpose and to that point where we walk in our purpose, our life is going to be so much better. Stay blessed, loves.